So I wasn't planning originally on making a video about this paragraph at the end of the chapter, but I think it's maybe worth hearing it in my voice, for better or worse. Um, it's a fairly common reaction as we get a little deeper into the course for students to say something like what I have in the quote here. What is this crap? I want to learn computer programming. Kakalina is a stupid language with stupid chicken names. And granted on the stupid chicken names. I think it's a little dumb, to be honest. But okay, whatever. Um, I have a number of thoughts on this. The first thing is that we do computer science, not computer programming. It's like really a different thing. Computer programming, in principle, is a thing you can learn on your own. We'll teach you computer programming as part of our major, but it's really not our focus. You need to be able to program to be a computer scientist, but computer science as a discipline is a lot more than just programming. An analogy I like to make is that computers are a part of computer science the same way that telescopes are a part of astronomy. It's hard to imagine astronomy without telescopes, but people did it, right? And like it's hard to imagine computer science without computers, and there are people who do it. Um, so just have some patience about this being that discipline. Next, we're getting practice with recursion, which I know is probably not your default mode, right? It's probably not what you started learning. You learned about for loops and mutating variables, and this is sort of a different way of programming. And my feeling is lean into it. You're going to learn something new. Even if you don't use this directly, the ideas from functional programming and recursion in particular show up all over the place in contemporary frameworks. Modern languages are increasingly adopting things like Cox inductive data types to huge effect because they sort of let you specify only in exactly the things you care about. So you're gaining familiarity with things that are on the cutting edge, even if you don't ever deal with this stuff directly again. It's gonna sort of like give you a really important background. Um, that background is fundamental. That's sort of point three. Um, that's I think going to be good. These are the fundamentals for us moving forward. Um, And then the last 2 points here are really pragmatic ones. So, first, one of the reasons that I really like teaching this course in functional programming languages that are sort of pure, that don't let you change variables, that are all based on recursion, is that it levels the playing field. People will come in with varying levels of background and varying sort of like maturity levels with existing imperative programs, but that doesn't mean they have all sort of the fundamentals of the background of like what programming as a discipline is, just because they've done a bunch of it. And we can kind of level the playing field by choosing a language that isn't out there in the world and that like nobody studied cock in high school around here. If you did, I'd love to chat, but I'd be very much surprised if you did. And so this way, we're all coming to it sort of at the same level. So I get that that's frustrating if you have a lot of experience and it feels like it doesn't apply. But the flip side is it means that we're all coming to this the same. People who their first programming was in 51 and people whose first programming was at some point in elementary school, we're all seeing this fresh, and that to me is really important in sort of making this accessible for everyone. And then the last reason is sort of a selfish one. We're going to do a bunch of proofs later on in the course. This course is really about proving at least half of it, two-thirds really. And it's just much easier to prove things about recursive programs than it is to prove things about imperative programs. So it might be frustrating to write these, but know that it would be much, much more frustrating if we wrote sort of sensible imperative programs and then you discovered that we had to do much, much more work later on to be able to know anything about what those programs did. Hopefully this convinces you. If it doesn't, that's fine. Bear with it. I've got one more video coming. I'll do an informal one on the whiteboard just talking about binary numbers, and then I'll see y'all in class. Talk to you soon.